I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for January 20, 2015. Get a roll call, please.
Bertie Bassett,
Here.
Thomas Wood,
Here.
Marty Mannix,
Here.
Michael Cashman,
Here.
Meg LaFave, here, Ricky Tony is absent, James Coffey absent.
Okay, resolution 32. By the way, I call this to order for 7:02, so we're all making the same notes. Resolution 32, approving the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of January 5th and January 12th, 2015 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed
Have a
with.
motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 33, abstract 2015.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 1A-15 for $63,152.16, $28,102.81, $896,400.43, and $277,942.18 were received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstracts.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Ms. LaFave, any discussion? Just for the record, I missed this one before we came out. Each of these abstracts should be number 1A-15. They're written as number 15A-15. Just scratch that first five. They should each be number 1A-15. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas E. Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
and Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 34, monthly department reports.
Resolved to receive and place on file monthly department head reports for the month of January 2015.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Ms. LaFave, second.
Second.
Mr. Cashman, any discussion?
Yes, we would need to amend the motion to, amend the resolution to accept the, add, I should say, the yearly reports for codes and zoning and town clerk.
Well, we can do that, Tom, if you'd like. This is the first time we've used this new format, and one of the things we're exploring is how do we get it to catch all. There are times when an end-of-the-year report may come at the end of the year, and it may come sometime later in the year. There are times when a department head doesn't get the report to us in time for the meeting. They may include that the next month. So what Debbie's put together is, as you can see, we'll put an X if the report's there. There's an asterisk if there's no report, and two asterisks if there are multiple reports. So the idea is, for example, if you look at the building and grounds, there's a report. It could be a monthly, it could be the yearly. And town clerk and codes have multiple reports. So we have to really look in there. Trying to keep it as efficient and streamlined, and this, you know, is something I'd ask we try for a bit and see how it works for us.
Well, I think the monthly reports are for the month of December.
January.
And that's okay, they're just monthly reports.
Well, if we receive and place on file the monthly reports, are we going to say for December, or are we just going to leave it?
I don't know that the resolution should have to qualify which month, because, for example, we don't have a report from the historian. Next month, he may want to catch up and give us two reports. I think we just leave it, it's reports, and when you get in there, you'll see what the reports are.
Well, in my mind, when it says January, it's January. If you're going to just say monthly reports, that's fine.
No, I think what he's saying is this is a report that's being filed in the month of January. Not saying that it's a January report. It actually wouldn't follow that you could have a January report be filed at this time in the month of January. We're only halfway through the month of January.
Well, we're following monthly department head
Right,
reports.
they're the reports,
For the month of December.
the reports that were submitted in the month of December. Now, that's my
But
interpretation,
if
if
they are
that's
for the
confusing.
month of December though, not for January. I just.
Okay, how would you suggest we change it, Tom, to make it clear? So it's
Change it to
noting just
December.
reports.
The month, the reports are for December.
But they may not always be December.
But Bernie, I think what the disconnect is when you're looking at your cover sheet, for lack of better terms, or the resolution,
Mhm.
there's the disconnect between the file of the monthly report for the month of, in this case, January, where most of the reports are noting December. So if you were to try to correspond, or correlate the resolution with the report, that may be disconnected, that people might say, well, was it adopted in December, or was it adopted in January? I think that's what Tom's trying to say.
Okay, if we change the word "for" to "in," to receive and place on file monthly department head reports in the month of January. Or submitted in the month of January, how would that be? Reports submitted the month of January,
In the month of January.
in the month of January.
Excuse me, could she read the resolution again, please?
We will, as soon as we figure out what it's gonna be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what's being suggested now to amend the resolution would read, resolve to receive and place on file monthly department head reports submitted in the month of January 2015.
Submitted.
So we're not saying the reports are for any particular month, they're just reports that have been submitted for this month's meeting.
Well, I guess we should have discussed this a little bit earlier, but we'll need to discuss it at the next.
Well, why? Discuss it now. It's not, this is about as small an item as
Tom, what
we
do
do.
you,
What
next
what
month,
else would you do?
next
You know,
month,
the point of this, I thought, was to check who submitted reports. If we don't know which month they submitted them for, we don't know which reports are missing for a particular month, if we're just putting in the month of, they submitted them. Well, which one was it? Was it for December? Was it for January? Was it, for February? I'm not saying it's a end, be all and end all, but we really need to try to, for the purposes of people looking at this, or for us going back, we need to know which month it was. Yes, I know, this is a overall one. The only thing you have to change is the month of the report, I believe, for the year. So, I mean, yes, it's gonna be a different resolution next time. It's gonna say the month of January, and the next one will say the month of February. I mean,
but the report that you are getting will not, the report that you will get, when we accept these reports in February, we will be accepting reports that actually are for January activity.
The clerk says
And we
the
may
entire year.
receive from the historian a January report, and we may receive a December report, because he hasn't submitted his December report.
I think-
And in this one, the clerk says for the year, it's an annual report for for 2014. I know exactly what you're saying, Tom, and I was one who made that comment. This way, among departments, it'll be a little more obvious we didn't get one. We don't have one from the historian. If I see an asterisk there next month, yeah, it's 2 months in a row, I haven't had a report. It brings it to my attention.
So maybe there should be, maybe where the asterisks and X's are, there should be something more illustrative said, like such as December
That's,
or
Mhm.
December/annual,
that's what I'm thinking.
and on the line where we have on the lines where we have the stars, it should say, no report, or NR.
Because we're getting into the weeds.
That's right.
Even the asterisks, the no report and the multiple reports, I would have those be, something different, so that you clearly know one is for no report, one is for multiple reports, because if you're keystroking
That's
this
right.
and someone forgets to put the other asterisks, it then looks like only, no report was submitted. Not even multiple reports, but no report.
Yeah, and we can do an NR, MR.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a wide variety of clerical ways to do this.
Quite simply.
What is
What's
it?
that?
It could be done very simply.
Yeah.
And that's important too, that it needs to be simple as well.
Right.
We're good at some.
And I'm thinking of Deborah maybe more than I should, but I'm hesitant to get into for each report, we're gonna make a note, if it's monthly, which month,
Well,
if it's an
while
annual.
we were having this discussion, I just flipped through and it says right on them, monthly report.
On the report,
Yeah, it says monthly
Yeah.
for December. Some of them word it differently, but it definitely has the monthly
Yeah.
report, the date.
which is why I was leaning toward keep the resolution generic, and the attachments, I would give you the specificity of what reports were submitted.
Right, but maybe some people don't want to have to look through all of them to find what they're looking for. And they would just like to look on this resolution.
And the cover page makes that work pretty efficient if we get it to work.
Well, and I think part of it is we're trying to simplify it, but we're also looking at when we used to adopt the individual reports, it was acknowledging much more directly what we were adopting. Now we're trying to collapse it all under. I mean, you could do a simple, layout of, A is for annual, M is for multiple, or monthly.
Monthly.
You could do N for no report. I mean,
Yeah.
we could create a legend for a variety of things.
That might work.
Rather than doing asterisks and
work.
check marks and things like that.
That might work.
And I guarantee you that our historian will thank you by acknowledging a time period, rather than trying to go through a
Yeah.
whole
Which one was it?
span.
Now, my only concern, if we put, for example, as suggested, A for annual, M for monthly, and R for no report, it's a little more specificity. If we have a department that did 2 reports,
You put M and you put A.
Yeah. Or the number. They can submit 6 reports if they want. 6M, 6, 6A. It's like bingo.
Wow. Can't do 6.
okay. Well, and now is a good time because, as you know, we have some guests next Monday in our work session. As I said, first time we're transitioning to this, we'll maybe have to revise it more than once to get it so it works right. We've got something before us, I think we know what it is.
Well, we do, but every report, except for 2, which are annual, are December. So I really think it should say, we're accepting the reports for the month of December.
I don't have a problem with that. To me, it's minutia.
Is planning for the month of
So
December?
if you want to go with that for this one, you also have some annual reports,
Is
or
planning for the
reports,
month of
I don't know if they're on.
And I also made the proposed
They are off.
amendment to
I
the
haven't.
resolution, just
Everybody
say,
else
and the
files
annual
for the
report
previous month,
of
and they're
town clerk
look
and
back.
codes and zoning. They're the only 2. And by the way, it says here there are only 2, but I've also been through all of these, and I know that's what they are. I've been through all the reports.
I'm taking notes here, I'll read it back to you.
And then we have our comment period on the reports.
Okay, what I'm hearing now suggested is we might change this to, we are resolved to receive and place on file monthly department head reports for the month of December 2015,
14.
in 2014, and the annual reports for the codes and zoning department and town clerk.
That would be
Boy,
That's pretty specific.
And then when we work out this code, we can be specific without
Throw
having
that
to
in
do all
the,
that.
yeah, it might be easier.
Bernie, you want to read that one more time?
Yeah, I will. Well, first of all,
Brittany, real quick, the dog control officer is actually his annual report, end of year.
did you miss that one, Tom?
No, I apparently, I thought I read December on it. But yes, I must have missed it. You are absolutely right.
He gives a summary.
that happens.
He does, and the dog,
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Yes, yeah, he did, that's right, because he said how many dogs were total for the year and how many were euthanized and how many.
It's more in a narration style.
Yeah. exactly. Okay, I missed that one.
Okay, so the proposal then would be, and I can go through this with you more.
Thank you.
Okay.
To receive and place on file monthly department head reports for the month of December 2014 and the annual budget, and the annual reports for the codes and zoning department, comma, town clerk, and dog control officer.
Excellent.
That tells you what's inside. And if we can, a different system other than the X and the asterisks may be smoother. Okay, Meg, you had made the motion, you concur with that amendment?
Yes, to further simplify it at a later date.
Oh, that motion too, huh?
Second draft? Mr. Cashman?
Yes.
Okay, would you like me to read that one more time?
I have it.
Okay. Any other discussion? As amended,
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Oh, I
Bernard
forgot, I
Dawson.
should have.
yes, the resolution
Before, but we were supposed
carries.
to make comments on these.
Would you like to make some comments? I can
Yes.
deviate for you this evening.
I just want to point out the highway department, during the month of December, plowed and sanded the roads 10 different days, and they did 5 different days that were on sidewalks just on snow. So there was a lot of work on snow during that month. And let's see, what was the next one?
I found that building and grounds noted the dog park was staked out, and they did have a meeting with the highway department, might be important to share, as well as the furnaces we recently put in needed to be replaced. Our department head, superintendent of building and grounds, worked with the supplier, manufacturer. They've agreed that they would replace them at no cost to us, and they're reimbursing our labor cost to install the new ones, which we feel will be pretty effective and even more efficient.
And then I had, what's another one? I don't know why I have so many copies of these. There's 4 copies of this. Let's see. 5 copies, sorry.
But the point of this was to save time.
Amen.
It will in the long run, yes, it will, but the point is also to save paper if you can call.
Doesn't do that.
That's what we're also doing, I hope, anyway. Let's see, code enforcements.
How is it saving paper?
I'll remind you, this was the Councilman Wood proposition.
Yes.
Okay. There would be a
on
resolution
the-
for every single one.
On the Justice Department report, it said that I tendered the idea of installing a mirror in the hall to facilitate better security. Actually, I talked with Patrol Sergeant William Dominy, and he suggested that that would be a good thing to have in the hallway downstairs for the court, because as he's standing in the back of the courtroom, he'll be able to not only be able to watch all the people in the court, but also look this way and see anybody that comes in, opens the doors to come in, or who's in the hallway. And he felt that would be something that would really enhance in being able to keep track of what's going on. And I checked with our Buildings and Grounds Department. Our pro said that he has a mirror and he can put that in. So I believe that this is one of the things that would help down there. There was another suggestion that we look into better radio reception in that particular area. So I just wanted to bring those up. Let's see, I don't think this one. There's on the planning department, we're going to be having a committee to review, we want to set up a committee to review the comprehensive land use plan. I'm thinking a smaller committee, but to go through it, check the progress as we've gone through, and then make suggestions. Now, as I understand it, that planning department has already gone through, I think it was Trevor mostly, and put out a lot of the information that we would need for that, but it still needs to be a committee of people from the town, along with a planning board member and a zoning board member, probably town board member, as we did before, so that they could go through that and check it. And this is something that, in my experience, going to seminars at the Association of Towns, that they suggested that be done annually by a separate committee. I'm glad that the planning department is going ahead and taking initiative on this, and I think that we need to consider setting up the committee.
Tom, I know that the planning board was looking at that item tonight, I believe, to just kind of flush it out a little bit and give some support behind it.
Yeah, so I think that that's one of the things that I just want to bring up from the reports. And on this particular one, I think this is a tax receiver report. Was that like for the year?
I believe that was for the month,
That was for the month.
of December.
It just says as of 12/20, and I wasn't sure.
That's the month of December.
Okay, thank you. So that's all the comments I have at this time, but as you know, I'll be making more on these reports later.
We already closed on that one, so I'll go to resolution 35, 3% site plan return deposit for social security building site plan 1994.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Board has reviewed and approved all requirements of the Social Security Building Site Plan 1994, and whereas the Social Security Building Site Plan 1994 has on file with the Town of Plattsburgh a 3% deposit for construction of their project in the original amount of $1,322 plus accrued interest, and whereas the Planning Department has coordinated an inspection of said project and reports all requirements have been met and completed, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to release the deposit in the amount of $1,322 plus accrued interest to date, and it is further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded by the Planning Department Secretary with the return of deposit to Terry Miron.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second Mr. Wood. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 36, Teamster negotiated side letter of understanding.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh and Teamsters Local 687, the recognized bargaining unit for certain employees of the Town of Plattsburgh, entered into a contract agreement for the period January 1st, 2015, and ends December 31st, 2016. And whereas Article 27, Wages of Longevity of said contract, sets forth the top job rate for each respective title for bargaining unit members. And whereas the mutual understanding and agreement by and between the parties has been and continues to be that bargaining unit members' annualized salary, once they have successfully obtained top job rate, as outlined in Article 27, shall not exceed top job rate for purposes of their annualized base salary. And whereas over the course of the last round of negotiations, 3 bargaining unit members have their annualized top job rate adjusted such that they are making more than the mutually agreed upon top job rate as outlined in the January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2016 collective bargaining agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the parties mutually agree to the terms and conditions as outlined in the attached side letter of understanding dated January 2015, and a copy of the executed agreement be given to the town's finance manager, labor relations contractor, Dr. Rachel Risotto, union stewards, and the business agent for Teamsters Local 687.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second. Do we have a second? I guess for lack of a second, I'll second it. I think I can.
I'm just checking dates.
Any discussion?
I'm still not clear on this one in terms
The
of,
summary is, we settled an agreement. As you recall, the Teamster agreement has a job rate. They have a 3-year progression to get to top job rate. We don't have a salary schedule that goes over longevity of their years of employment. The contract had an increase of, I believe, 40 cents per hour. for 2015. When the finance manager began to put together the payroll for 2015, it came to his attention that we had 3 employees, as indicated, who, as a result of other situations during the previous year, had current salaries that were beyond the top job rate. We discussed it at some length, the finance manager, myself, the union, the stewards, the business agent. And logically, the only thing you could do is the side letter. You agreed to a 40-cent per hour increase. All this means is these 3 will get a 40-cent per hour increase. The problem is, in the structure of the agreement, where they have a job rate and a top job rate, that 40 cents puts them over that. So it would really be inappropriate for the budget office to give them the raise that we agreed to give them, that would then put them out of compliance with the negotiated agreement. We didn't want to change the negotiated agreement by any means and create another tier and start that. So all we did is say these 3 individuals, unless something else changes, would have their salary increases as negotiated, but as an exception to that top job rate.
So this is for the contract, for the 2-year contract.
Right.
After that, then it's open to.
It would be, Tom, and you really should put something in the agreement. What we wouldn't want to do is raise the top job rate. So they were dealt with in isolation. Now, the other thing that would happen, you'd have agreements and you'd lose if you don't give them the raise that you agreed to give them. We agreed to a 40-cent per hour raise, that's all they're getting. They're not getting anything anymore. It's just acknowledging that that action is contradictory to the language about top job rate. And what we also were concerned is that we don't do something that, you know, in 2 years, 5 years, whatever, there's somebody picks up on, hey, they didn't do that right. You know, somebody owes us money or something. So we're formally acknowledging that their 40 cents takes them over the job rate. There's nobody else. The side letter indicates that this is, you know, an exclusive and unique agreement. It doesn't pertain to any other situations. It doesn't create a precedent or a past practice. It's simply because of the uniqueness of their particular point in the salary schedule. If for some reason, theoretically, let's say those 3 people left employment at the end of this year, well, the second year of the contract, this is all irrelevant. Everybody else is still in that 3-year progression, and they'll stay there. There's no step forward, and that was a real concern of mine. We don't want to do anything that implies we have a new step forward. Now that would, again, 2 years, you're going to negotiate that and figure out what to do with it. But you have to give them the same as you gave others. You can't say, oh, too bad, you know, you're already at that job rate, so you can't go beyond. No, you'd lose. That's all that is. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll ask for a roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Meg LaFave.
I'm gonna vote no, because I don't fully understand.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 37, request to attend annual code enforcement educational conference.
Whereas it is in the best interest of the town code enforcement officers to remain current and informed concerning changes in regulation and participation in the annual conference will enable the codes officers to earn 24 credits to maintain their license. Therefore, it is resolved that Stephen Emhoff and Alan Reese, code enforcement officers, be allowed to attend the Northern Adirondack Code Enforcement Officials Association 18th Annual Educational Conference held from March 2nd through March 5th, 2015 in Lake Placid, New York at the Crown Plaza Resort and Golf Club. And it is further resolved that $520 for conference fees and $766 for lodging and meals be charged to the code's budget And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and codes enforcement officer.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
Yes, they're taking town vehicles,
Yes.
so they're coming back at different times, I take it.
Did you pick up on something that indicates that?
Well, they each have checked that they're taking,
Steve's commitment is different than
yeah, because they
Alan's.
said number of persons traveling together is one.
Yes.
So I'm just assuming that we have two vehicles that we can use for that.
Well, but yeah, they each have their own town vehicle. I didn't pick up on that, but it's highly possible because Steve is a part of the organization and he has some pre-program and post-program commitments. A little like with the association where you, if you become a delegate, would go to some functions after the conference that others wouldn't participate in.
Yes, the reason I brought it up is because the times were all the same,
Mhm.
and there wasn't anything down, but I do know that Steve does have extra duties at the conferences. And they do get all their annual training right at this one place.
Any other discussion?
For me, you know, we had a lot of conversations about conferencing last year. So I had a conversation with Steve just to better understand kind of the training requirements as well as Phil and et cetera. And the one thing that I think pushed me over to certainly supporting this is, yes, there's some professional development for him and the association, but it was really, if you miss a conference that's close within the region, there's the potential, because he needs to get the, I think it's approximately 24 credit hours, that he could have to go to another conference, say in Western New York or somewhere else. So it,
Keyword being have to.
yeah, you know, so to me, it's local, we budgeted for it, and I think, you know, we need to move forward and make sure that our department continues to stay at the level that they need to, you know, for their certifications.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I think it would merit a conversation to find out if we really, in fact, need to have two vehicles there.
I can check on that.
Yeah, I mean, if it means that one individual ends up staying there for another 2 hours or so because of somebody has to be at a meeting, I don't consider that a hardship.
Yep.
And yet we're not gonna tie up a vehicle for 3 or 4
And,
days.
and you know, I'm not sure that is their plan. I know Steve has some other commitments, but like you said, I'm guessing they're a couple hours after. I don't think they're a day before. They have the same dates, and I'll follow up
They've
on
got
that.
same dates.
I'll follow up on that with both of them.
Okay.
I totally agree. I wasn't saying anything, but that was an intent to take place.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 38, New York City Association of Towns Training 2015.
Whereas it is in the best interest of the town that employees in the respective boards remain current and informed concerning changes in regulation, and whereas training is being offered in New York City through the Association of Towns from February 15th to February 18th, 2015, therefore be it resolved that Deputy Town Attorney C.J. Madonna, Councilperson Thomas Wood, Town Clerk Ricky Collins, Justices James Joyce and Kevin Patno, and Court Clerks Pamela Esposito and Pam St. John be approved to attend the training, and be it further resolved that the aforementioned individuals receive training for the year 2015, and the expense of their training be paid from each department's budget, and be it further resolved that the supervisor be authorized to submit a receipt for payment for said yearly training, and a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, and a copy be placed in their respective personnel
Have
files.
a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
Second.
Mr. Cashman, any discussion?
I think this particular one is really important because the justices and clerks get all of their training out of the way that they need for the year, and it's at one spot and one time. We only pay the one fee, and they don't have to go to 2 or 3 different conferences.
What is required, does anybody know what's required of the clerk's training for the year? How does that change from year to year? And how is what's he's being trained on being implemented in his office the next year?
I don't have that specific information.
I think it's worth
But
knowing, because it's a big expense.
under state law, as far as I understand it, they have to have X number of training hours each year to remain a justice.
The justice, I
He's talking.
understand, I was just wondering about the other positions.
I think equally, you know, as we continue to have conversations, you know, now that we have the opportunities to look at, you know, trainings and collaborations, you know, there's certain ones that I think certainly having a more statewide perspective on hearing what people are doing and how, you know, how things are operating. But some of these positions might be much more standardized, and the training could be done locally. Unfortunately, I was out of town, so I couldn't go to the training that the city of Plattsburgh had hosted on, you know, open government. I think that there may be some more opportunities here for us, either to host them, we have the facilities, Beekman Town, Schuyler Falls, etc. And I think that should be explored.
I will ask the judges to make note. To us about-
I did have a conversation with
Okay.
the judges.
What'd they say?
Well, that wasn't what I was asking about.
Okay.
I understand that they've got annual training, that's pretty important statewide, like Michael said.
What do you need to know then?
I was wondering specifically for the town clerk position.
That's what I'm talking about, it's the clerks. Have the judges
No,
respond.
not the judges, not the court clerks, the town clerk.
Oh, the town clerk. Oh, for my,
Yeah, I'm just wondering what changes are being made in the clerk's office on a yearly basis that maybe is being garnered at this training.
yeah, he'd have to respond to that, I guess, and it would be relative to the training he did in the past, or do you want him to do a report on what he implements following this training? I mean, there's a lot of stuff they learn, a lot of regulation, a lot about archives, FOIL, open meeting, and it goes on and on.
Cybersecurity.
Bernie, I think what Meg's trying to say is, as we take our codes and our zoning and our planning, and we look at regional conferences versus a conference that's further away, you know, might some of these positions benefit by localizing it, if it's pretty consistent?
If there's a local option, the problem is we don't have a local option.
But I think that's the question that's being raised, and you know, similar to where Meg was sitting last year, what you don't know, though, you don't know. So I think it's just begging the question, are there other local ones? What's the general agenda that the town clerk, that the, you know, deputy town attorney, and a variety of others go through? What are some of those mandates to better understand as far as the educational value of things? Am I correct, Meg?
I know in the last couple of years, there was major changes in dog licensing that was covered. Another year, there was a major change in the handling of the licensing. They discontinued.
The hunting and fishing license?
Right,
Is that what you're talking about?
and those kinds of issues.
Okay.
I have no idea, you know,
Managing archives too, and we did go
because
through
I asked
major
Bernie
change.
numerous times, you know, has anybody published anything that looks like, you know, I kept referring to it as an agenda, but normally we would get a very well-developed publication of what the various topics were that were going to be presented at the Association of Towns. Never got that this year, never saw it. And I think the Association of Towns really has fallen down in that regard. But so I don't know if there's any particular issues that, you know, the town clerks are looking to have dealt with in their sessions there. But I can tell you that I know, you know, over the last 2 and 3 years, they've had a number of issues that were hotly discussed. Okay.
Thanks.
There's always the concern, whatever's on the agenda for program, will the attendee attend? And you somewhat brought it up, if the participant attends, what will they bring back and change and do?
Right.
Will they only hear what they want to hear and do what they want to do? I mean, I agree with Marty, it's been very frustrating not to have specifics, because those are times when, we as a board can say, I'd like you to go to that session, and that's something we've had an issue with, that's a focus we wanted to take. We don't have that information yet.
Well, yeah, it's on the internet. I went through it the other day, trying to
The
look and see
specific
what.
agenda? And-
Yeah, I was looking
Okay,
to
that's
see,
new. I
looking to
haven't
see what things would be appropriate that would be beneficial for me to go to. And what I wanted to do was, after, go through that, find out, have a discussion, and I have to copy it off the computer in order to do it, but so that we can go over and see if there's any particular areas that we think are very important for them to be at.
That must
I
have
mean,
been posted
I'm not
last
going to
week.
I'm not going to the lawyers ones anymore, because I went to one of those and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. But I'll go to the other ones, any of the other ones. So, yeah, there's a whole list of the ones for town clerks.
Yep.
And you can go and look at what the possibilities are. Doesn't mean, you can't possibly go to all of them. They're at the same time, many of them, and they're not repeated another day. So you have to pick and choose which ones are appropriate for you, but there's plenty of things there. And also, there's many of the vendors and the people that we deal with. It's important to talk to them and see that a lot of times they have some kind of a idea of what's coming up, and you can get their take on it. So I think there's quite a few things that can be done. What the individual does is it's not something that I don't think we have specifically asked for in terms of report.
Any other discussion?
Thomas Wood,
Roll call.
Oh, we're going in this?
Roll call.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. I had made a note and I was going another direction with court clerks. Now I better understand your question. Would you like me to follow up with the town clerk and get some specifics from him?
Sure,
I will.
yeah.
Resolution 39, appointment of a town of Plattsburgh delegate for the 2015 Association of Towns meeting.
Whereas training for municipal employees and officials is being held in New York City, February 15th to 18th, 2015, and as a member of the Association of Towns, the town of Plattsburgh has certain privileges. Therefore, be it resolved that councilperson Thomas Wood be appointed the official representative of the town of Plattsburgh and be allowed to cast his vote on behalf of the town at the 2015 annual meeting of the Association of Towns, and Ricky Collins, town clerk, be appointed alternate delegate in the event Mr. Wood is unable to attend. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be given to the finance manager, Mr. Wood, one placed in his personnel file, and the supervisor complete the certificate of designation noting Mr. Wood as the official town delegate.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Ms. LaFave, second.
Second.
Mr. Cashman, any discussion? While Jackie was reading that, I realized I added the alternate in, but this will need to be amended to indicate that if we pass it, that Mr. Collins would also have a copy placed in his personnel file, and I complete the certificate acknowledging Mr. Collins as the alternate.
And I don't think I need another copy of the resolution. So,
Yep. So I will amend simply to indicate those items to be included with the clerk.
No objection.
Okay, and Meg, okay with that?
Yep.
Any other discussion? A roll call.
Thomas E. Wood,
abstain?
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 40, optional 3-year dog license.
Whereas local law number 1 of 2010 declared that all dogs in the town of Plattsburgh must be licensed with the town clerk by the age of 4 months, and owners are required to present a current certificate of rabies at the time of licensing or the renewal of an existing license on an annual basis for a fee as indicated below. The fee for a spayed or neutered dog will be $15, $7 for owners 65 years of age or more. Said amount includes a New York State surcharge of $1. The fee for a non-spayed or non-neutered dog will be $20, $13 for owners 65 years of age or more. Said amount includes a New York State surcharge of $3. And whereas Section 5C3 of Local Law Number 1 of 2010 authorized the town board by resolution to periodically review existing fees and determine if fees should be adjusted. And whereas the town dog control officer has recommended to the town board that dog owners be given an option to purchase a 3-year license to implement a more efficient system for the town clerk and dog owners. Therefore, be it resolved that after due deliberation and discussion, the town board authorize a 3-year non-refundable dog license for dog owners who have proof of a 3-year certificate of rabies vaccination with related fees as indicated. The 3-year fee for a spayed or neutered dog will be $40, $20 for owners 65 years of age or more. Said amount includes a New York State surcharge of $3. The fee for an on-spayed or on-neutered dog will be $50, $35 for owners 65 years of age or more. Said amount includes a New York State surcharge of $9. And it is further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue said license effective immediately, and a copy of this resolution be added to Local Law Number 1 of 2010. A copy be posted on the website and the town's bulletin board.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
I think this is a nice option, as it says, and, an optional 3-year dog license. I think that some people will certainly take advantage of this. But one of the recommendations I would have, and I don't know it necessarily needs to be done in the resolution, but I would argue that the veterinarians locally in the town of Plattsburgh probably all have websites where you can find an email. I would just encourage us to email a quick notice to them. I think they're good ambassadors for things like this, to encourage people to know as things are coming up, when they're getting their rabies shots and stuff like that. When you have dogs that are licensed, it's good for the community, it's good for the pet, and I think it's just a good opportunity for us to get out in front of this a little bit. So.
Would you like to amend the last resolve that one of the other things the town clerk does is notify the vets, giving them a copy of the resolution and the amendment?
Yes.
I agree with that. You made the motion, Mr. Wood, do you
Yes.
concur? So that would be as amended.
And I'm just talking about the vets in the town of Plattsburgh. I think we can't go throughout the entire Clinton County,
Well,
but
I think, there's some that are pretty close.
I would guess they have some sort of professional organization where they meet, we can
Yeah.
ask them to share that with
Yep.
their colleagues.
Yep.
But you have to live in the town to get a town license, so you assume they probably use that in town. But that would certainly be a place to begin. Any other discussion? As amended, roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 41, independent contractor for assessor's office data collector appraiser services.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh has identified a need for additional real property data collection services, and after requesting proposals from qualified contractors, the assessment department wishes to enter into an agreement with appraisal services to provide services as noted in the attached agreement for a fee not to exceed $30,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Plattsburgh, a municipal corporation organizing existing under and by virtue of the laws of the state of New York, with offices and principal place of business at 151 Baker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, party of the first part, and appraisal services, the contractor, now with offices at 9 Maple Ridge Drive, West Shazy, New York, party of the second part, wish to enter into an agreement for services as indicated, and is further resolved that appraisal services is an independent contractor and shall not be considered an employee or agent of the town, and as a contractor is hereby prohibited from assigning, transferring, conveying, subletting, or otherwise disposing of this agreement or the right, title, or interest herein, and be it further resolved that after review by the town attorney, the supervisor is duly authorized and empowered to execute an agreement on behalf of the town of Plattsburgh, and a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and town assessor.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
Second.
Mr. Cashman, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 42, resolution scheduling a public hearing on proposed local law number 1 of the year 2015, entitled A Local Law Repealing Town of Plattsburgh Local Law number 2 of the year 2009, a local law relating to a code of ethics and a board of ethics for the town of Plattsburgh, and enacting a local law establishing a code of ethics and a board of ethics for the town of Plattsburgh.
Whereas the town passed a local law in March of 2009 entitled A Local Law Relating to a Code of Ethics and a Board of Ethics for the town of Plattsburgh. Said local law was local law number 2, 2009. A copy of said local law is attached. And whereas Supervisor Bassett has introduced proposed local law number 1 of the year 2015 entitled A Local Law Repealing Town of Plattsburgh Local Law number 2 of the year 2009, a local law relating to a code of ethics and a board of ethics for the town of Plattsburgh, and enacting a local law establishing a code of ethics and a board of ethics for the town of Plattsburgh. Now therefore be it resolved that a public hearing will be held on said proposed town of Plattsburgh local law number 1 of the year 2015 on February 9th, 2015 at 7:05 p.m. at the Town Hall, 151 Baker Road, Town of Plattsburgh, New York. And it is further resolved that a notice of hearing on proposed local law number 1 of 2015 shall be published in the town's official newspaper, the Press Republican, not less than 5 days prior to that hearing, and that the town clerk shall post said notice on the bulletin board maintained by the town clerks pursuant to town law and on the Town of Plattsburgh website for a period of not less than 5 days prior to that public hearing.
You have a motion.
So moved.
Ms. LaFave, a second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion?
Yes, the primary difference, or the only difference between this and the previous one is the fact that there's no one from the board representing, it's going to be all community citizens, is that correct?
Correct. This law would prohibit a board member from being a part of the Board of Ethics.
Right, and, well, wasn't any other changes?
None that I'm aware of, none that I've noted.
Okay. We discussed some other ones, and I see those were not included.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 43, Morrisonville Cable Water Connection Ban Renewal.
Whereas the town board approved resolution 07239 on October 1st, 2007 for the issuance of a bond anticipation note for an amount not to exceed $750,000 for water district improvements. And whereas said resolution delegated the supervisor with the authority to annually renew the ban for water district improvements. And whereas the current ban matures on January 31st, 2015, and interest rates have been sought in the renewal of the Morrisonville-Cadyville water connection ban in the amount not to exceed $460,000. And whereas the following banks submitted interest rates to the finance manager as indicated. With Glens Falls National Bank submitting the lowest interest rate, now therefore be it resolved that the town board award the Morrisonville-Cadyville water connection ban to Glens Falls National Bank, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents pertaining to the ban renewal, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and director of water, wastewater utilities.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
No, the ban renewal was for 460, and you said for not to exceed
The
7.
original ban was at the 750, and we're down to 460.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. That would be the last item on my list. With that said, I would encourage a motion to adjourn.
Can I just ask,
You certainly may.
what's going on with our negotiator?
I have no update at this point.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I learned the other night, we cannot go in executive session to talk about it. Any other concerns? If not, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second on that, Mr.
Second.
Cashman. Second, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? A roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Bernard Bassett.
Yes, we'll stand adjourned at 7:57.